That'll do, donkey, that'll do. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It has been a hot second. The main reason is because my best friend, oh no, puppy fell out. My best friend was born. He's my little lover bug. Say hey, Bronchi. His name is Bronx Houston Tucker. So if you hear anything below me, it's my baby. Today's video is gonna be a labor and delivery story because everything was so crazy with the virus going around. So I didn't do a labor and delivery vlog or anything like that because I was literally, my nerves were shot. Everything was falling apart before my eyes, really. But I wrote down my notes on my phone so I would remember what to say. Here we go. So he was born on the 31st of March, by the way. This is a long-awaited video. He's already almost a month old. He'll be a month on Friday. My little baby's growing up. He's in 3-month clothing. Like, literally, he's a big old baby. He's a big old baby. I love him. Does he look like me, guys? Does he look like me? Oh god. My sweeter bug. My tweeter bug. Okay. So he was born on March 31st. So this goes back all the way to the 30th. Or actually even before the 30th. Okay, so I've made videos before about my blood pressure being crazy high because I was always nervous or whatever. So my blood pressure never fixed itself, basically. It was just crazy the rest of my pregnancy. So like a few days before, I had felt like total dookie butt. Like I felt like I had had a hangover. My blood pressure was like crazy. And they had told me to call them if it ever got over 140 over 90, and other doctors had a different reading, like if it goes over 150 or if it goes over 100 on the bottom or whatever. So it was crazy, but it got over 140 over 90, and I called and I was like, my blood pressure is crazy, I don't know if I should come in or not, blah blah blah. The nurse was like, yeah, you should come in. I was having other symptoms. I think I was hurting, where they had told me like, if it hurts there, you need to come in. So I told him that, and then I was telling him how I was feeling like this rush up and down my neck when my blood pressure would be high, and it felt like I had like worked out or something. It was so weird. That day I went into the doctor's office, and it was a doctor I had seen before, but she was super duper nice, and she was like, yeah, we'll send you in or whatever, just to make sure. I don't know if you'll have a baby or not, blah blah blah. And I was like worried because my mom had went with me, so it was like during the virus or whatever, the hospitals had already said like you can only have one person in the room with you the whole entire time. And I was like, I had planned for like 3 or 4 people to be in there, especially my mom, because I'm a star-craving lunatic and I can't deal with situations. So I was like already dying on the inside, but I knew that I was wanting Josiah in the room, obviously. So we asked the doctor like, oh, if my mom goes to the she's like, you need to go to the hospital. So I was like, if I go to the hospital with my mom coming in with me, will Josiah be able to like switch off and come in? And she's like, oh yeah, I think so. I don't know why you wouldn't be able to. And I was like, well, they said something earlier, like basically saying that I couldn't do that. So she's like, well, let me ask. So she asked, and they were like, ask me because you wouldn't have been able to. She was like, so you need to go in by yourself, because Josiah was at work. She's like, you just need to go into the hospital right now. And I was like, by myself? What? But luckily Josiah was working like past Atlanta, so he was able to meet me at the hospital and meet me there and go in with me. So then we got to the hospital, and then they had to like check us. They check your temperature, they ask you all these questions, and then they let you in if you're good. I would have died if Josiah would have had a fever or something and not been able to go back, because then I really would have been alone. So I get there, we have to go to this place. We were lost in the hospital. We couldn't find the floor or whatever, but we finally found it, and we sat in that waiting room forever because I wasn't necessarily like, I guess, somebody that was going into labor. Like, people came in after us and they still went back before us, and I sat there and sat there and sat there, and finally we get called back and we sit in the, what is it, triage for like hours and hours. They did a whole bunch of work, like blood work, and it all came back normal for the most part, but I was dilating a little bit. So the midwife was like, well, I'll ask the doctor, but we're probably just going to induce you just to make sure you don't get preeclampsia or anything like that. She's like, because I feel like if you don't have it now, you're probably gonna get it anyway. So that's what happened. I got induced. I got my first IV ever, and I'm terrified of anything to do with needles or anything like that. So I sat there. I'll probably insert a video if I can, but I literally sat there with my hand like straight out like this, like, do not move my hand. They admitted us and everything, but we still stayed in the triage for like hours. We got there at like 2 something, got out of triage at like 7 something. So it took forever in triage and everything. And then we got admitted into our like labor and delivery room. And from there, that night they gave me, it wasn't Pitocin, it was something else. It was like Pitocin, and it was a little tiny like thing this big, a little pill, and they made me stick it in my mouth and rub it. I really don't know what it was, but that didn't work very well. So then the next day they started, oh my goodness, he burped. The next day they gave me Pitocin in my IV. That ish burned, like in my hand it burned, and oh my god, it was literally awful. But anyway, after the Pitocin they had to give me another dose of Pitocin because it wasn't going through or whatever. Oh, after that I think I lost my mucus plug. I was in the bathroom and stuff came out that wasn't normal. And I thought my water had broke a little bit, but I didn't know. So then I sit there for a little bit longer, and I was getting little contractions. I was like, this cannot be labor. Like, people freak out about this. This cannot be the contractions that like people scream about. And then I got one like out of nowhere. It was the worst pain ever. Like, I was dying. So then I went through a couple of contractions, and the doctor came in and they were like, so what are you wanting to, oh my goodness, they were like, what are you wanting to do about like pain relief or whatever they say? And I was like dying. I could not talk. They were like, you have a few options, blah blah blah. They told me about the it was a narcotic, that's what it was, and it helped for a little bit, and then they came in with the epidural, and I was in so much pain. I was like, you have to give me the epidural. I was dying. So the dude came in, he gave me the epidural. I was terrified. They had me hooked up to the blood pressure thing. I don't know if it was because they were worried about my blood pressure at the beginning or what, but they had me hooked up to a blood pressure cuff the whole entire time, and it like did it while it was on like 15-minute intervals. So it did it while I was getting the epidural, and my blood pressure was like 150 something over 100, and I was like, obviously I'm crazy. But he did it. It wasn't that bad, like way not as bad as I thought it was. Like, prior to this I was mortified, but I'm glad I got it. And so I got that, and this is where like my labor wasn't the greatest. My baby, I like once the Pitocin was in me, it was in me, and the contractions were coming and coming and coming, and they were so strong. And the epidural decided to work on one side of my like back or body, pelvis area, I don't know, but it only worked on one side. I was in so much pain. Like, I don't know how natural people give birth, but like kudos to you, because it was awful. Like, the nurse came in, I was like, I'm not a person to like talk to the nurse and be like, listen, I'm dying, but I was in so much pain. I was crying, I was like begging Josiah for my mom. And so the nurse was like, well, we'll get the person back in here and we'll figure out what's going on. And I told him like it's only on one side. And so a different, what are they called? A different doctor for the epidural came in, and he was like, well, it must be like over to one side or pushed to one side or something like that. He was like, so I would just, so that I don't have to take it out for the first time, and redo it, we'll just pump more medicine in you and see if that works. So luckily that worked, and I couldn't feel anything, like absolutely nothing. And then a little bit, like not even that much later, it literally felt like it went by in this like blink of an eye, the labor part. I started practice pushing while Josiah was in the bathroom, and the bathroom was like, here's the bed, and the bathroom was right there. So he opened the door to literally me like spread eagle pushing. And during the practice pushes, she like made me stop. She's like, no, stop. She's like, wait till the doctor gets in here, because the head is like right there. Oh my gosh. The doctor came in, and he was like, they said he was sunny side up. That was like his face was up to the sky and his shoulders were like out to the side. So she said that was the hardest way to push, but I pushed for, I think in total she said, which was the practice pushes and everything, 18 minutes, which I was like, dang. But he was born at around 5, almost 6 o'clock. He weighed, how much did you weigh, Bronchi? He weighed 8 pounds 1 ounce, and they said that I was 37 weeks pregnant. But I thought I was 38 weeks pregnant this whole entire time. Like, I thought I was ahead. Every time they said I was something, I thought I was always like a week ahead of that, and my mom agreed. And like before any of this happened, I had an ultrasound because of my blood pressure. They wanted to make sure everything was okay. They were like, oh, he has a big head. Like, he's got a big head. And I was like, thank you for like terrifying me, but this might be TMI. I only had 3 stitches, and I'm like, I already feel like I'm healed and everything. I mean, it's been almost a month, but he was 8 pounds 1 ounce. A little chunky baby. If I would have went to the 40 weeks that they said I was, he probably would have been a 10-pound baby, like legit. So yeah, that's why this video has been a little bit delayed, or any video for that matter, because my baby was born and we just been getting used to everything. But this is my Bronx Houston. He's so precious. You're tanner than your mama. Can you give her some color? Can you give her some color? But he's gonna be a month Friday, and I'm so excited, but I'm sad. I'm sorry I'm talking like a baby in this video. But yeah, that's the end of the video. Hopefully I'm gonna be coming out with a lot more videos. I want to do like a teen mom day in the life, or a morning routine, a night routine, or just like what we do in a day with quarantine and everything like that. I know I don't like quarantine either. Yeah, that's the end of the video. I hope y'all enjoy, and hopefully I'll see y'all real soon. Say bye bye, everybody. Oh goodness, you grumpy. Throw it back. Throw it back. Good job, Bronx. Good job, Bronchi. Oh gosh, the sun is bright. I look like a lion. Oh my goodness, you think it's bright too. Can you say, later peeps, later peeps. Oh my goodness, he's so cute. This is my baby. He's so cute, he's so cute. He had chunky butt, he scratched his nose last night.